I want to turn out to the latest on Michael Jackson's Dr. Conrad Murray. He is on suicide watch this morning at the LA County Jail.
The jury convicted him, as you know, of involuntary manslaughter Monday, and national correspondent Ben Tracy is outside the courthouse in Los Angeles this morning. Ben, good morning.
Good morning, Jeff and Erica. You know, after a 6-week trial here at the courthouse, the jury took just about 9 hours to reach their verdict, and it was not the one Dr. Murray was hoping for.
We, the jury in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Conrad Robert Murray, guilty of the crime of involuntary manslaughter.
Dr. Conrad Murray had no reaction as the verdict was read. But outside the courthouse, a crowd of hundreds erupted.
This is just wonderful. This is about time.
Members of the Jackson family who sat through every day of the trial were clearly relieved.
Michael was watching over us. He was watching over us.
Conrad Murray was handcuffed in the courtroom and immediately taken to jail. His attorney did not talk, but the prosecutor did.
Our sympathies go out to the Jackson family at this time for the loss that they have suffered. Not a pop icon, but a son and a brother.
Yet pop icon is how the executors of Michael Jackson's estate want him remembered. In a statement, they said, quote, "In this case, justice has been served. Michael is missed on a daily basis, but his genius and his music will be with us forever." The trial lasted for 23 days and included 49 witnesses and more than 300 pieces of evidence. In the end, the jury agreed that Dr. Murray giving Michael Jackson the powerful anesthetic propofol in his bedroom was so reckless that it led to the singer's death.
Michael Jackson trusted Conrad Murray. He trusted him with his life. He paid with his life.
The defense tried to paint Jackson as a drug addict. They said Dr. Murray was a victim of Michael Jackson's behavior.
He was just a little fish in a big, dirty pond.
Dr. Murray will spend Thanksgiving in the LA County Jail. He's being held there without bail until his sentencing, and that takes place on November 29th. Dr. Murray faces up to 4 years in prison, but most people think he won't serve anything close to that, and that's because of overcrowding here in California's prisons. Erica?
Ben, thanks. Ben Tracy in Los Angeles this morning. Also joining us from L.A. is Jean Casarez, who's covered the Jackson trial for truTV's In Session. She was in the courtroom for the verdict. Jean, you were there for basically the entire trial as well. As we see in the video, there didn't really appear to be any reaction from Dr. Conrad Murray. From where you were, did you see any sort of reaction?
You know, he keeps his emotions inside. He does not emit a lot of emotion. He hasn't from the beginning, but it was a packed courtroom. I mean, people were standing and lining the walls when the verdict came down, and the jury came in. They were stoic. They did not look at him, which is always a sign. The Jackson family, there were 15 members of the Jackson family. Randy Jackson, I was right behind them, and he had his arm around his mother and was massaging her shoulder. When the verdict was announced, and the judge had admonished the gallery that he didn't want any type of verbal emotion, but LaToya Jackson, I think, just couldn't help it, and a shriek came out, so you heard that. And Katherine Jackson started to cry very quietly, as she has through very poignant moments in this trial.
Jean, you mentioned that the jury didn't look at Dr. Conrad Murray. Did they look at all at those 15 members of the Jackson family?
You know, I think I saw some fast glances, but they knew it was a serious moment, and they really just looked straight ahead, found their seats, and sat down. The foreperson of the jury was a male, 45 years old, had his master's degree in business, so that is interesting. He led the jury.
It is interesting. There's been obviously reaction from both sides. We just saw a good deal of it in Ben's piece there. A friend of Conrad Murray's at one point said the jury, in his estimation, that the jury felt an overwhelming pressure to convict. But what's the thinking? You were there for the entire trial. You've been there following all of this. Did the jury do its duty as it was instructed to?
I think it did. When you look at the situation, I mean, propofol in a bedroom without a lot of monitoring equipment. So right there, I mean, when have you ever heard of that? On the other hand, doesn't somebody have to become accountable and responsible for the King of Pop's death? How do you not make someone responsible? And I think many people say this is a lesson for doctors. It is a doctor-patient relationship, not an employer-employee relationship. If the patient wants something, you don't do it if it's unethical, if it violates your standard of care. But on the other hand, this sort of negates patient responsibility. And I think there are a lot of doctors that are concerned about that for the future, because there is patient responsibility also. Michael Jackson wanted this.
Jean Casarez, we're going to have to leave it there. Appreciate your time this morning. Thanks.
Thank you.